Hey everybody, Dr. Siobhan France here, physical therapist, and welcome back to my channel. In this live stream, I'm going to share with you why doing mindset work is so detrimental to the growth of your online business. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, everyone preaches mindset, mindset, mindset. So how could this possibly be detrimental to the growth of your business? Well, mindset is actually what has kept me stuck for a very long time. So let me give you a little bit of context so that this all makes sense for you. Back in 2014, I attended my very first Internet Marketing for Newbies event. This was just 2 years after graduating physical therapy school, feeling completely burnt out and thinking to myself, this cannot be my life. And I spent 2 days at this live event learning everything there was to know about the online space and the framework of it. I ended up joining the mastermind that was actually held by the host of the event. And by 2015, I had started my very first business in the online space. And it was an interesting ride. Let me just say that. But along the way, I was doing everything exactly as they had told me. And they were also, of course, preaching mindset. So I started reading a lot of books. I started listening to all the YouTube videos. And as I'm taking all of this action and I'm starting to see some of the fruits of my labor, I started to feel inside of me really big emotions that I wasn't ready for. And honestly, nobody was talking about. I think back then I didn't really know what those emotions were. But as I think back, it was fear, it was scarcity, it was doubt, it was imposter syndrome, it was maybe some intimidation of the world that I was entering in. Now, you can imagine I am a physical therapist, very logical, analytical brain, but also very heart centered. And I had kind of grown up struggling a little bit between being heart centered and feeling the feels with my logical mind. And I was the kid that was always in a bookstore in the self help section. I had all the chicken soup for the soul books, I had all of them. And it came to a point now in my business where I started to recognize some of the emotions that I was feeling as a kid growing up, I started to feel in my business. And all I knew how to do was push them down and keep pushing through. So as I was doing this mindset work, all I was doing was kind of running on autopilot, running on this analytical part of my brain in order to get things done and to grow my business. Now, what ended up happening was, yes, I did make profit. Things were going really well. I had done some amazing things. But again, these feelings were still bubbling up. I also noticed that I had shiny object syndrome. I was attracted to everything that looked like it could make me more money. And most of that necessarily came from a space of thinking or feeling like I didn't know enough or I didn't have enough in order to make what I was doing work. And so this came from a feeling of not feeling good enough. But again, I did not know this is what was happening in me at the time. This was just a feeling, it was all a sensation. And all I knew how to do was just stuff it down. So here I am continuing on my mindset work, developing higher levels of understanding of the brain and essentially just using willpower to keep going and to kind of pummel through some of these bigger emotions that were coming up that I didn't really know how to explain at the time. And so I ended up joining a network marketing company and I joined a group of people who were more living in their heart space and running their business from the heart centeredness of them and not so analytical as I had learned. So I started to kind of morph into doing mindset work, but also understanding the emotions behind what I was feeling. Well, it wasn't until 2018, 2019 that one of my friends said to me, Siobhan, you're an empath. And I said, what's an empath? I had no idea what an empath was. So I went home and I looked it up and I kind of started my journey around understanding more of my emotions and the role that my emotions were playing in my business. And everything for me in that moment was like, everything just took off. Things really shifted because what I had been doing with mindset work is thinking positively, but I was still feeling negatively in my body. And this is why mindset work is detrimental to the growth of your online business, because you can think your way into new thoughts, but you cannot think your way into new feelings. If you do not learn how to shift the feelings you are having in your body, it doesn't matter how many good thoughts you think. So, mindset, and this is one of the concepts and foundations that I always teach on now, is that why your mindset work isn't working and why it really doesn't work is because on a thinking level, you might understand what to do, you might be learning about it, but it hasn't quite penetrated into your body as a new sensation, as a new feeling. And when it comes to the world of online business, we can't think our way to success. We have to be able to understand and shift the emotions of scarcity and doubt and lack and fear and anxiety. Those are the emotions of our body. So thoughts are the language of the brain and feelings are the language of the body. And that's something that Dr. Joe Dispenza always says. He is a spiritual teacher. He's a chiropractor by trade, I believe, but he wrote a book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And it's all about how you can really shift on demand what it is you're feeling inside of your body. So I started to recognize that my thoughts of thinking positively were not shifting or penetrating my body. Essentially, they were not going past the brainstem. I had been running my business in a very logical, cerebral, analytical way, but I was completely neglecting the way that I was feeling about what I was doing. And so that caused me to be out of alignment with some of the decisions that I made. And I didn't do anything wrong or didn't do anything bad, but there were things that I was being told that just didn't feel right or didn't sit with me, or taking my business in a certain direction that didn't necessarily make me feel like this is really what I wanted to do. But what I was being told is that this is the best way to do it. What I have since learned is that everything works. Everything literally works, but it's how you make it work for you, or it's your essence that you bring, your level of personality that you bring to it is really what makes something work. And if you're not able to bring parts of you through your business as you're building your coaching business, your product based business, or your course business, or whatever it is you are selling online, if you can't bring parts of you and you're just doing what somebody tells you to do and you're trying to pummel your way through the process with just mindset work, but you're not changing how you feel, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to run into a plateau inside of your business, or you're going to make some money and you're not going to be able to break through a certain income barrier. The success that you want to create is always going to feel like it's far away from you. And even if you do get there and you hit what you want to hit, what I have found is that people have trouble sustaining it. And that's really what had happened to me. I had hit some really great income goals in the first business that I had, which really was creating rehab products for people and selling them on Amazon, selling them through my own site. And I was having a challenge with some of the direction because I wanted to create a mind body connection through the work that I was doing. And it was told to me that that's not what sells. But the thing is that I just needed to learn how to sell it. And so that was one of those moments where, had I been grounded in how I wanted to do it, I would have figured out how I needed to say what I needed to say to sell this component. But I ended up just selling exercises, which was totally great. People got really great benefit. My clients and students got really great results, people who bought my programs. But again, I felt like there was just a part of me that I wasn't able to bring into my business. And so when we can't bring a part of ourself into our business, it's always going to feel like something is missing. It's always going to feel like we're not connected to what we're building. And the truth is that the growth of our business is impacted by how much of ourselves we can really be when we are showing up. And if we're feeling like we can't be ourselves, or if we're feeling like there's parts of us that we're still trying to hide, it's going to make growing an online business really difficult. And so when I say mindset work doesn't work, it's because a business that really grows and blossoms that you feel solid about cannot just occur on a thinking level. It has to occur on a feeling level. We have to be connected to the thing that we are building, and that is not logical, that is a feeling component. And what I have found, if you identify as an empath or a highly sensitive or somebody who even might be an introvert, or you might consider yourself as somebody who is really in the feels, what I have found is that we can logically think our way out of doing something that is actually good for us, meaning we are logically thinking our way out of not putting more of ourself or more of our essence into our programs and into our products. And if that's how we're approaching business, it's going to be really hard to keep going. We are going to burn out because the truth of the matter is energy comes from our body. The kind of emotions that we are feeling, if we're feeling fear or scarcity, that's going to emit an energy. If we're feeling joy or gratitude, that's also going to emit an energy. And if we don't know how to start shifting some of these states within us, then we're going to be creating a business from fear and scarcity and lack. And so we're going to be taking all of the action on a mindset level, but we're not going to be feeling it in our body. We're not going to be feeling empowered in the action. And so I described this in my last video where I was talking about almost like if you're going to give a punch, right? If you're going to give a punch, it's like you can give a wimpy punch or you can really give a punch. And it's the energy behind that punch that really matters. So the mindset that we're doing to grow our business doesn't provide the business with any energy, doesn't provide us with any energy. But this is why we start to see people trying to hype their way up to taking action or motivate themselves into taking action. And they're doing it on a cerebral, conscious level only, and it has not penetrated into something in their body. My favorite example to give is if I said to you, can you think of something that you are grateful for? You might have to like think for a second and wonder like, what am I really grateful for? But if I said, can you feel gratitude in your body? What was the last gift that you received that somebody gave you? That created an emotion inside of you. So there's a difference between thinking about gratitude versus feeling gratitude inside of your body. This is the same thing with mindset. Business is being approached as a mindset level. We're thinking about being successful. We're thinking about the money we want to make. We're thinking about the people we want to help. We're thinking. We're understanding. We're kind of scratching that itch of understanding as though we're really getting it, but none of that has actually penetrated. So the key and the trick to actually allow things to penetrate is embodiment work. And this is why I stopped teaching mindset, is because people were thinking their way to things, but it wasn't changing how they feel. And so I teach embodiment work, which is an expression. It's a physical representation of how you are showing up. It's a physical representation of your beliefs. And so if you are feeling scarcity, if you're feeling fear, if you're feeling lack, if you're feeling any of those things, then you are a representation of that in your business, unless you know how to start moving and taking actions from different spaces, from an empowered place. And so that is the difference. So the work that you really want to do, which is the underlayer of mindset work, is embodiment work, where we start to work with our body to create safety and to build trust. Now, if I said to you, do you trust, pick a friend in your life or spouse or whatever, hopefully you trust your spouse, but pick a friend. If I said, do you trust this friend? That trust can be thought about, or you can go, yeah, I totally trust that person. And it's a feeling. That is the difference. And that's the connection that I want you to make, because you can think about the gratitude. You can think about the trust for your friend. But all of that doesn't actually matter until it's penetrated in the body as gratitude and as trust for your friends. So the same thing happens in trust for yourself. And if you don't trust yourself to start taking bigger action in your business, if you don't trust yourself to put yourself out there, if you don't trust yourself to go live on Instagram, go live on Facebook, go live on YouTube, this is a live stream, right? If you don't trust yourself to go live, it's going to be hard to grow within the capacity of the business you might want to build. And so you might be trying to hype your way up to take the action, but until you start really diving into how all of that feels, or dive into how you can really get your body on board with building that trust to take different kinds of actions. And maybe it's not going live on social. Maybe you do a lot of offline marketing. Maybe you want to go pitch yourself to a local gym, or maybe you want to pitch yourself to a corporation and you want to work on a corporate level, teaching health and wellness and doing things there. That's going to take something. That's not going to take your mindset to get there. It's going to take a level of embodiment where you are the physical representation of your power, your strength, your courage, your belief factor in yourself, the belief in the work that you do and the work that you bring about to your people. And so what I often find is that people are stuck in their mind, and these thoughts are just running, they're racing, and they don't have a way to actually filter out the emotions, because you don't get what you think about, you get what you feel about. It's the feelings that actually emit the energy. And so this doesn't mean that you can never feel sad or you could never feel angry or anything like that. That's not what that is saying. But what is the thermostat in your body set to? Is the thermostat that you're always feeling anxiety, that you're always feeling overwhelmed, you're always feeling fear or lack? If that is the thermostat that your body is always set to, you'll eventually run into some problems. Even if you can kind of willpower your way through it, there will be a cap. And so once you start doing embodiment work, you're going to know how to generate these new feelings of joy and gratitude and love and power and courage. And you're going to have an internal connection to yourself and the work that you are doing, the work that you're bringing out into this world. And so what I want for you is to understand that if you are in a space where the mindset work that you've been doing isn't working because your income every single month has plateaued, or the way that you keep thinking or having to motivate or hype your way through something, you're like, man, that's getting old. If you can feel big emotions in your body, but you keep pushing them down and trying to override them, that is why people often get stuck, is because they're stuck in the mind, and we have to have a way to emit energy. So when I work with my clients, we do some techniques that actually allow us to move the energy from our body, move through that lack so we can start to feel our abundance, because abundance is our birthright. So we're moving through that so we can get back to the core of what is ours, which is that power, that courage. And so if you're finding yourself right now that you keep reading the books and watching the YouTube videos, but nothing in you is actually changing, nothing in your life is changing, you're just creating more of the same, then I invite you to dive into doing embodiment work and stay close to this channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm going to be taking you through some embodiment techniques. I'm going to be sharing with you how I started to really turn things around in my business. And so I'm in my third business. I mentioned I had three. I'm in my third business right now, which is my coaching. And this has been the most successful, the most profitable, and I've been able to sustain it. And that's the difference. And I'm not out here chasing a shiny object. I'm feeling through the things that are coming up, working through it, and knowing that my feelings are not facts, not identifying with what I'm feeling, and recognizing when the thoughts that are coming in are my own or not my own, recognizing the way that my energy is showing up in my business. Different things have shifted for me that allow me to move more effortlessly in this business. And it has yielded the best results, and it's yielded sustainable results. And I'm if you're like me, that's what you're after, right? You want sustainable results. You don't want a quick win and then you can't sustain it, because that's no fun. And that's what I find with mindset work. People might hit it, but they can't repeat it because it never got embodied. It's like you thought about the gratitude, but you didn't feel the gratitude. So it's like you can't replicate that, right? And so this is what embodiment work does. It actually preps the body to consistently feel that success and already attract that to us, knowing that it's already here, but it's like we're calibrating our nervous system to be able to receive more of it, because you are already worthy. You don't have to work on your worthiness. You are already worthy. But it's like getting back to that so that you can actually feel the worth that is inside of you. And we can't mindset our way through that. So comment below if this video was helpful to you. Share it with a friend. Let me know in the comments if you resonate with this, if you've noticed that there are parts of you that are trying to think your way through something, but the way that you feel like it hasn't been jiving. You're like, I know something's off, or I know something's missing. Well, that's the embodiment side of you that is wanting to come through. That's your true essence, your true magic that is wanting to come through as you are building your online business. So that is why mindset work is detrimental, because it only takes care of half of the equation. So you are not going to see the success that you want to see in the way that you want to see it if you don't take step 2, which is this embodiment work. So I will see you all in next week's live stream. Take care.